Hello, my name is Eamon McAuley, and I'm just gonna get my wee scrapbooks, boxing scrapbooks filmed here because they're falling apart. And before I lose them, I'm gonna get them on film, and it also gives me a wee chance to tell my wee boxing story as I go along. Um, my boxing career was cut short, and it maybe never reached the potential that it should have. But we'll talk about that as we go along. Here's the first scrapbook. This is my amateur scrapbook. And there's actually some photos here. The football team I was in 1976 and 77, the greatest football team ever come out of Holy Cross, possibly Ardoyne. This photo here is of the Harding Street gym. Renty Monaghan, my uncle, world flyweight champion. My grandfather Harry McAuley. Frank McAlornan, my manager and coach. Billy O'Neill from Ardoyne too. I think there's 2 or 3 Ardoyne men in that. So I'll just quickly go through them. This is me when I left Belfast and went to London. Sorry, I went to Manchester in 1982, and this is when I really came to the fore with the boxing. I reached the NABC Class B finals and had a whole string of knockout wins. Many of them one-punch knockouts. I was a scourge of the Northwest featherweights and lightweights. And I actually won. This is a write-up previewing the finals. I actually won the finals. I beat a guy called Gary Andrews, given 2 stand counts. This is me and Liam O'Kane and Tony Williams. This is a few years later. Now they're all mixed up. I come home one day from work and my dad was reading my scrapbooks and he was eating his dinner. He was eating chicken with his hands and there was grease stains all over the scrapbooks, so many of them I had to throw out. So I've tried to assemble them all as best I can. This is a couple of years later when the NABC finals again, but I'm down in London this time. And I won these NABC finals. These 2 were beating the final. I beat a guy called Adrian Ginger Staples from Wales. I stopped him in the 3rd round. And I won the final in 8, and I got a £300 Listerio equipment. And that was at the Grosvenor House Hotel. And I remember my Uncle Jared come down from Manchester to watch it. Good night, good win. And there's where it says all that. He stopped the Welsh opponent Adrian Staples of Pontypridd in the 3rd round at the Grosvenor House Hotel in London. That's me in the NABC. No, that's me in the Henry Cooper's Golden Belt, 1984, against Neil Foran from Liverpool. Neil was a good fighter. We fought twice. We had 1 win apiece. Very good fighter. He went pro. One hit McAuley. Newly crowned NABC champion Eamon McAuley established himself as a serious contender for the ABA Championships when scoring a first round knockout over Oleg Sadenko in the London Tel Aviv match at the National Sporting Club Grosvenor House on January the 21st. McAuley, 18, who had won his NABC title 7 years previous, showed quick and clinical finishing as he disposed of the Israeli with 1 punch. Knocked him out cold. Ali Morgan, my dad's old mate, came that night to watch me and give me a few quid. Ali was from Newry, a millionaire. Sadly deceased now. He ended up in Poland. He ran a bar in Poland. But my dad was a minder for him in London for many years. A few wee write-ups here, as I say, they're all mixed. Some of them are from Manchester, some of them are from London, and some of them are from Belfast. But I'll just rush through. And that year in Hogarth, I won the Sports Personality of the Year. I got a bottle of Pernod and a tracksuit. Yep. Hounslow Sports Star of the Year, yeah. But there was a guy, an athlete called Eddie Maffey, I think you call him, a black athlete, and he was very, very well known, so I won it in front of him. So this is the London finals, senior finals at the Royal Albert Hall against the 1978 ABA champion and Commonwealth Games bronze medalist. He also captained the Commonwealth Games, Moss O'Brien, and he was attempting to make a comeback in 1985. And I seen him win his semi-final against Gary Andrews, and he looked quite impressive. But I had my semi-final to win. He was the fight before me. But I says, if I get past Tony Graham here, he's going to be a tough fight. But I knocked Tony Graham out in the first round, and I beat Moss O'Brien. Moss O'Brien was the only guy in the ABAs in 7 or 8 fights to take me the distance. But he got 2 public warnings in the last round for holding, so he just about made it over the finishing line. But a good fighter, one of the best he ever fought, clever operator. This is the referee raising my hand here against Moss O'Brien in London finals. Well-known journalist here, Walter Barleyman. This is the London Standard. He took quite a liking to me too. He set him the final of the season. And in his semi-final, Eamon had young England's Tony Graham taking 3 counts before the contest was halted. 2 minutes and 15 seconds into the opening round. Graham never shook off the effects of a vicious right hook to the jaw, which had him on the canvas. This is a preview of my ABA final against Carl Crook. I won the ABAs. Only 2 guys from Belfast ever won the ABAs. Jack Gartland in 1928, who went to the Olympic Games representing the GB, and myself. Only 2 guys from Belfast ever won the ABAs. And I was the underdog. This was my first season as a senior boxer. And I was the underdog. I had done well to get to the final in my first season as a senior. But in the final of the ABAs, I come up against a paratrooper. And being from Republican Ardoyne, and the hurt and the pain that the paras had caused my community, I knew I was under a lot of pressure. If I'd have lost, I would have had it cost up to me the rest of my life. People would have reminded me, she'll let that para beat you. So it was a great final, fantastic final, and he's a nice lad, Carl Crook. Also, my dad was well known for fighting and beating members of the parachute regiment on the street that couldn't get a para to beat him. He actually flew one in from Germany, a boxing champion, to challenge my dad, and my dad done him. This is gospel truth. And after that, they left him alone. They respected him. They revered him even. It's my Uncle Jared. This is... what fight's that? Oh yes, that's a semi-final of the ABAs up in Preston. George from Manchester, he came down. And I stopped a guy called Robert Smythe in 3 rounds. Moss O'Brien again at the Royal Albert Hall. Clever operator. Jerry Stafford from Ardoyne came along to watch me that night. And this is after the final of the ABAs. Colin Hart, the well-known journalist for the Sun newspaper. He interviewed me after the fight. After the fight, I couldn't believe the people from Ardoyne who were working over in London. People from Belfast came to say hello and congratulate me and hugging me and kissing me. A bottle of champagne appeared from nowhere. I poured it into the cup and we were all drinking from the champagne. That's when Colin Hart pulled me in to give the interview. This was in the Sun the next day. And then somebody says, let him get back to the dressing room. But they all followed me back to the dressing room, and there was 2 other guys in the dressing room who were boxing. So I was a wee bit worried about that, but they were fine. John Beckles and Rod Douglas, and they hugged me and congratulated me, and they both won their fights that night. Just different wee write-ups. Different wee write-ups about different things. I scored many one-punch knockouts in Manchester and London. The final of the ABAs against Carl Crook at the Wembley Arena. Fella from the bone, Barney Burns, got to the finals of the ABAs. A guy called Terry McCann beat him. That was in the 60s. But as I say, only 2 from Belfast ever won the ABAs. Barney Burns came very close. That's me at 15 in the Sacred Heart Boxing Club. And this was in the Irish Independent. The boy from the Ardoyne could be the new McGuigan. This is out of the programme, the NABC Class C finals against Adrian Staples, who was stopped in 3 rounds. When I left to go to Manchester, I don't know, I had 50, 60 fights here and I lost 4. I remember Billy Nicholson beat me twice, Hugh McGuinness beat me, and a guy called Rafferty robbed me blind in Derry. Billy Nicholson was the only guy to stop me in my whole career. And he put me down. I was put down twice, once by Billy Nicholson and once by Eamon McAuley, who I got up to stop in that round. Me and Billy Nicholson had 3 fights. Getting into the final of the All-Irelands in 1981, we had both won one each. He won the first one by close decision. I beat him well in the second one. So going into the final, the third fight, I was well favoured. I was in the ascendancy. And Billy, getting into the third round, it was too close to call. It was anybody's fight. And I upped the pace and walked on to a big haymaker from Billy. And when I got up, the referee wouldn't let me continue. And that still rankles with me today, to tell you the truth. Try to organise a fight with Billy. He does a bit of like charity boxing. And I bumped into him last year and I says, what about me and you getting into, he says, Eamon, catch yourself. Well, 2 of us are 50. And he's right. Have to let it go. McAuley defeat could be spur. This was actually a guy I had previously beat, and he was the only guy that had went the distance with me. And we got the rematch at Manchester City Football Ground, Main Road, and I had seen Sugar Ray Leonard defend his title that week against, was it Bruce Finch or Larry Bonds? But when Leonard had him going, he put his hands up and done the shuffle. So that's what happened in the first round. I hit the guy left hook, his legs went, and as the referee jumped in to give him a stand count, I done the shuffle and put my hands up and got disqualified. I was no Sugar Ray Leonard. That serves me right, doesn't it? Yeah. And I had words, well, I called the referee everything, but it was my own fault. This is the Sacred Heart. About 79, 80. Noel McGee, Eamon McGuire, myself, Colin McGill, Lawrence Marley, Terry McGee and Norman Hagney. All great boxers. In the height of the Troubles, when the Troubles was raging, Eamon McGuire, great man. That's where we went. Instead of being out riding and getting into trouble, we were in the gym hitting the bags and sparring and lived for boxing, lived and breathed it. McAuley stops his mom with a last gas punch. This guy had it in for me. He had fancied Crook to beat me the week before. In the preview had picked Crook, but he more or less says it was a lucky punch. Every punch isn't lucky. You mean to throw it. And I caught him coming in. As he was coming in, I gave him a stand count, he gave me 2 stand counts. And as he was coming in to finish it, I thought of what my dad had preached to me for years. Catch him coming in. It doubles the impact. And that's what went through my head as Crook came in to finish me after giving me 2 stand counts. Catch him coming in. So I put everything in that right hand. And I beat him to the draw, just by a fraction. And that won me the fight. Broke his nose in 3 places. Me again, the Sacred Heart, 15. For that guy, Moss O'Brien, Tony Burns, he's a great boxer out of Rappin. That's the guy beating the London final. KO wins for McAuley. I knocked out a good fighter called Derek Granger in 40 odd seconds in the NABC semi-finals. Derek Granger went on to turn professional and with Terry Lawless and fought for the British light middleweight title. He actually had a great record. It was like something like 24 wins and 1 loss and 1 draw. And his loss was against Dale Brandt when he fought for the British. It was a British welterweight title. And good fighter. And I knocked him out in 1 round. KO Kid proves he's a big hit. As I say, I run up a string of inside the distance wins in the northwest counties. That's when I knocked out another good lad who turned pro, Dennis Oakes. Knocked him out in 1 round. And his own show at St Helens. McAuley, 18, who also lives in Hounslow, has been in great form, and in many previous rounds he saved the judges' work by knocking out his opponents. He is a previous winner of the NABCs. And that's all the NABC winners are all invited down to Crystal Palace. It's myself here. I don't know, there's a wee lad there that I boxed, Paul Day. There he is there. He was a good fighter too. He turned pro. He was 10-0 as a pro. And we had a great fight. I knocked him down the first round. He came back. And I fought twice that day. I had beat a guy called Danny Cooper. I've not a great memory. I beat a guy called Danny Cooper earlier on, a couple of hours before that. I knew that Paul Day was going to be a hard final. And in the first round, I knocked him down with a body shot. But he got up and got in that final round. He could have been in the lead. It was hard to call, but I caught him a cracking right hand and knocked him out. One of my best wins. And Harry Holland jumped in the ring and was hugging me. Harry was a professional, shouldn't have been in the ring. He's lucky he didn't get. But the emotions were that high. The crowd was on the edge of their seats. I'll never forget it. Another win here. This is interesting here because this wee lad, this is 1982, coming up to Christmas, December 1982 in Ardoyne, and I stopped a lad called Dermot McDermott. Now this is 2016. See this year, that's 1982. See this year, I found out who he is. We've connected, and I found out who this fella. I never knew him. I stopped him in 2 rounds, beat him easy, but he was quite a bit heavier than me. But he was telling me this year that he was maybe nearly 2 years younger than me. He shouldn't have been in the ring, nowhere near me. But he was much heavier, and I complained when I got in the ring that this guy's too heavy. But done him in 2 rounds. He's a boxing official now. He's high up in the IABA, Irish Boxing Association, but a lovely lad, and we're Facebook friends now. So there you are. Bill and the Sacred Heart show. John O'Neill, I beat him that night on points. Tony Graham. Bobby McAllister takes 11 fighters to Newport, and the side will be boosted by London-based Eamon McAuley, the 18-year-old lightweight, son of former Ulster welterweight champion Paddy Coco McAuley, whose father was a professional pugilist, is now operating out of the Hogarth Club in Hounslow. Recently, Eamon, who will join his former Holy Family clubmates in Wales, won the NABC Championships. He also secured a superb win over Ireland's #1 lightweight, Alan Keogh of Arbor Hill. There's a couple of photos of me there. Sacred Heart Boxing Club, 1981. There's all the club, most of the club members there. Anthony Maguire and Ian Maguire, Patsy McKenna, Eric McCulloch, 4 coaches. Myself, 4 champions, myself, Terry McGee, Tommy Scott, Colin McGill. Just make sure you go round Cornwall, you get them all, you know. I was picked 4 or 5 times to box for Ireland. Me and my dad, down at the Irish News. And it was a #1 lightweight senior in the British Isles. In fact, it was a #1 junior, because I had beat, as a junior, I had beat Chris Halley and Alan Keogh, who were Irish junior champions the years I was British junior champion. So unofficially, an unofficial British Isles Championship bouts, I beat them both convincingly. So I have the right to call myself the best junior lightweight and senior lightweight in the British Isles around about 1984-85. I left London to come back to Belfast. That was sad because Maggie Thatcher had brought this rule in. Right, we had to take a wee break there. Lorraine came on, so we're back with a cup of tea. This was my last amateur fight when I boxed at the Europa Hotel, Ireland against Australia, and I beat a guy called Eric McArdle on points. I knocked him down the second round, and yeah, as I say, some of them are all mixed up. A couple right upside. When I left Hogarth to come back, as I say, Maggie Thatcher had brought this new rule in, and we were all staying in bed in breakfast hotels in London, working away and having the time of our lives at 19. And she brought this rule in that, to get them paid for, you had to be over 25. I was the enter the Ulster seniors, but a recurring nose injury kept me from doing that. I was out a year after winning the ABAs. I was out for a year just over with a nose injury, and I regret that so much. I could have done so much in that year. A couple of wee things. Our new face in the pro game. This is when she's going pro with Barney Eastwood. But it'll go back to the other amateur ones. As I say, it's all mixed up. It's all mixed up. It's turning pro with Barney Eastwood. In my heart of heart, I wanted to stay amateur, but Barney Eastwood's a very persuasive man. When I come home from London, he was after me. He was like a harbour shark, sending people up to my house. And the first thing he offered me, the first amount of money was £2,000, and I chased him. And then he offered 5,000, and I told him that aspirations to go to the Olympics, Europeans, Awards, whatever, things I wanted to do before even thinking about going pro. And I asked for 10 grand, thinking that that would chase him away. He sent a fella to my house to bring me up to his house. I brought my father with me. I think it was the Culloden Hotel or the Culture Inn up beside where he lives. Barney Eastwood said to me, look, we'll do it like this. Instead of giving you £10,000 cash, I'll give you £6,000 signing on fee and £1,000 for each of your first 8 fights. That's 14 grand. And he got me a job. He got me driving lessons. He gave me a few £100 of sports equipment, and he gave my dad back to a hand or two. Took me to Panama, Colombia, Los Angeles, sparred the best fighters in the world. Great gym, everything was there, and I messed it all up. Blaming nobody but me. But with regret, I turned pro. I should have stayed amateur and done things and won things, because you've got that for the rest of your life. A bad defeat in the pros, and it's sort of all over, you know. As I say, this nose injury kept me out of many international bouts. It's my father here in his prime, and in the 70s it's my mother here. Look at the Saisley arms and my dad. Just a wee mix-up of all different things. Me and Davy Larmer, the great champion. This is us here, fella terminally ill, down with cancer, wanted to see Renty's belt. So we brought it up, and Davy Larmer, we got the Lonsdale belt with Neil Sinclair here, and Davy's Irish belt, and the guy was over the moon. That's us in Panama, Los Angeles, with Bernardo Pinango and Paul Hodgkinson, Luis Spada, who managed Roberto Duran. I mean, we mixed in great company in Los Angeles and Panama. I sparred about 14 world champions. Right, the amateurs, this is big raid up after I beat Kyle Crook for the ABA title. Okay. We maquette, we got a full size statue of Renty Monaghan unveiled at Cathedral Gardens. It's coming up to the first anniversary here in a couple of days, and what a great privilege and honour, you know, that was. One of my proudest moments to be involved in that project and to see that statue, to know that I played a small part in getting it. You know, that's one of the biggest achievements of my life. And we've got statues for John Caldwell, the great champion, and there's going to be a statue dedicated to all the great boxers who come out of Shankill, the Briars, the Meikles, the Warnocks, Tommy Armour, Davy Larmer, Eamon McAuley. It's going to be an anonymous statue to recognise them all, and that's going to be unveiled on the 26th of September at the Woodville. We've already been over and seen the statue. That's going to be a great day. Joe Gormley, Cliftonville player, Davy Larmer, myself, Paddy Barnes, Darren Corbett. I'm not even sure what that was for, I can't remember, but that's in the Bone Hills. I think it was to get facilities, sports facilities for Ardoyne. Paul Carson asked me could I get a few people to raise a profile of it. These 2 tickets here, very interesting here. I'm sorry I've bent that, because that's going to diminish the money. These would be worth something because the stubs are still on them. They were never used tickets for big super fights. And just right here, this is a write-up Carl Crook did for the Boxing News. And in the write-up, it's saying, Carl's quoting his fight against me. When he got 2 standing counts, I got anxious. I thought, 3 counts and he's finished, said Carl. It wasn't quite the ending Carl had planned. McAuley was teetering on the brink of defeat. As Crook tossed another damaging right hand like a sharpshooter, McAuley threw one from the hip and beat Crook to the draw. I had 2 breaks across the nose and 1 down, said Carl, as he fingered the new nose job. I could not remember anything until I got into the dressing room. This is me beating Gary Andrews, who I mentioned earlier, in the NABC finals. Maurice Hope, former light middleweight champion. We write up of my grandfather, Harry McAuley, defeating Dublin's John Ingle, big puncher, big shock up was. See, the biggest sensation of the night. My grandfather done him in 2 rounds. He's the brother of the renowned boxing coach from Sheffield, Brendan Ingle. It's Carl Krugler. Got to meet him again in Romford in 1991. He went on to become British champion, Empire champion, fought twice for the European title, and was number 5 lightweight in the world. In fact, he defended his British and Empire titles 4 or 5 times, losing to Billy Schwer. Me, I turned professional. I won 12 out of 13 fights. I finished boxing a month short of my 22nd birthday. Very, very young. So that's why I just want to tell my wee story. I didn't become a big champion, or but when I leave here, just something to leave behind for my grandchildren or whatever. This is the statue of Rinty. This is at the unveiling. The sculptor, Alan Harriet Beattie, Carl Frampton, my uncle Tommy, and the Lord Mayor of Belfast, Arthur Carson. It's a great, great day. This is the 17th of September, this is the 17th of August. It's coming up to the first anniversary. Me and Neil Sinclair up in Newton Abbey with Davy Larmer and the belts at the Monkstown Boxing Club, trying to inspire the kids. And I got a mural commissioned for the great boxers who come out of Ardoyne and the Bone, and that proudly is over in Ardoyne Walk, the main entrance, the Ardoyne and the Bone, and it couldn't be in a more perfect place. And it's dedicated to all the great boxers who come out of this area. My grandfather here, Harry McAuley, who was Northern Ireland area featherweight champion and one of Rinty Monaghan's main sparring partners. I think I was at that photo earlier. And there's a mural there, Carn. Strangely enough, there's a mural. My name's on it, but these guys, they won major titles. Darren Corbett was Commonwealth champion. Paddy Barnes, one of the greatest amateurs ever come out of Ireland. Freddie Gilroy, British Empire and European bantamweight champion, robbed of attaining the world title against Alphonse Halimi. Noel McGee, Commonwealth champion. Eamon McGee, Commonwealth champion. And there's my mum and Isabel McGee, our friend, down at the Rinty statue launch. Sorry to talk so incessant and fast here, but I'm trying to rush through them. My father here when he was young, that's myself here, and Tanya, this is up at Bellevue, would have been in the late 60s. No sign of Paul there. Father out in the bus run. Father here again. Great snooker and billiards player. He was Northern Ireland individual snooker and billiards champion, Catholic League. Fantastic player. Played Higgins, played Dennis Taylor, played quite a few of the top. There's my father there. Look. He won a few Irish titles as a kid and then drifted away from the sport. My uncle Sean joined the Holy Family and tried to bring my dad back. My dad came back for 1 year in the seniors. This is Charlie McAuley here. Charlie Gilhooly, Jim McGee here. Recognise someone. And this is my grandfather on the day out with the boxers, with fists at the ready. Great Tommy Armour from the Shankill. What a fighter he was. Frank McAlornan. God knows who else. Big right up here for Kyle Cook, as I say, went on to become a professional champion. A good fighter.
Gumshoe! Crook now just beginning to get on top with much sharper, more accurate punching with the left hand. Oh, as I say that, so he takes 2 to the mouth. Out comes his gumshoe, has completely disappeared. Good little uppercut there from McAuley again. Eamon McAuley from the Hogarth Club in West London. And now it's Crook's turn to come back, a left hook. So they've had a counter piece now in this second round. Some round. Oh, and he's got Crook. Now it's gone the other way. Would you believe it? Oh, Crook walked right on to an almighty punch. And he stopped. It's all. This was absolutely out of the blue again. McAuley seemed to be on his way to defeat. And then suddenly, he produced a punch, a right hand, and what...
Here it is again. It really was a good right hand on the temple, and then there was a clash of heads, and then the head... Yes, he was on the retreat all the time. McAuley, sensing victory, was there. The right hand caught him a little left, and Borg at that stage was really...
Oh, great right hand. Oh, what
A bit of advice from the McAuley corner saying open him up, and he does just that. And Lucas down on his knees, looks at his corner. McAuley trying to get through to the body, and he changed it nicely to the head, and that did catch Furlong. A very good two-fisted attack by McAuley, and it was the right hand that put Furlong down. And McAuley now looking to try to stop this in the second. A great right hand. Well, a good second round it was. McAuley a little bit on the low side there, and a good left hand into the ribs, and Furlong really felt that one.
Good left hook there from McAuley. Greg a wee bit sloppy with his shots, and down again for another left hook. He doesn't like that. Big left hook there from Eamon McAuley, and that one's got...
Dropped a bit here in the second. Oh, short right there, and he's got Bushell down. And Bushell moves straight onto that one. Ooh, big left hook there from McAuley, that one hurt. Shook him. And now Bushell keen to stay out of the way, but again takes another shot. Shots here.
What are you, Rick? Keep working, Rick, both ends.
Nice little left right there from McAuley, and he's got the wind in his sails. A left hook right hand drops. Rick Bushell again here in the fourth. He's very game, Bushell. He's up at 9 this time.
On to my second scrap it. One of my old opponents, Tony Borg, Welshman, stopped him in 4 rounds at the King's Hall. That was the night Dave Boy McAuley went 13 rounds with Fidel Bassa. Fantastic, one of the greatest fights ever in the British Isles. Tell you a story about Fidel Bassa. I seen him win this title in Barranquilla in Colombia against the great legendary champion from Panama, Hilario Zapata. Zapata made 20 defences of his light flyweight and flyweight title. And we were in his camp in Panama. We trained with him and run with him in the mornings. In Los Angeles, we were in the Bernardo Pinango camp along with Luis Spada, who was his manager. He successfully defended his title against Frankie Duarte at the Englewood Forum. So fascinating insight when we were over in Colombia and Panama. Sparred many world rated fighters, some world champions. It's me getting ready for my pro debut. 130 contests, 12 defeats. Only stopped once. And 13 pro wins, 13 pro fights, 12 wins, 1 defeat by injury. It's me saying in the contract, and I got a great deal. When you think, Karen, Barry McGuigan didn't get anything for going pro, didn't get a signing fee. Paul Hodgkinson didn't get a signing fee. Dave McAuley didn't get it, they got nothing. and they were better fighters than me. I got the best because Barney Eastwood seen me knocking out the para and loved big punchers and tortured me and very persuasive man, probably against my wishes. I went pro with him because there was so in awe of him and had nobody really looking out for me. Guy Robert Smith, I stopped in 3 rounds. Welshman is ABA semi-finals. Robert had previously got an absolute lucky decision against me in the NABC Class C semi-finals. Robbed me blind and dropped to my knees in disbelief. Couldn't believe it. And the finals, the thing that really hurt me that year was the finals were going to be televised. And he went on to win the final. And I actually have the video of him winning the final against a Repton lad whose name Arthur Masher, you call the guy he beat in the final. Well, listen, honestly, I well beat him, Carn. And see when I stopped him here in the ABA semi-finals, beat him easy. See, afterwards, he came over to me and hugged me. He was all over me, introduced me to his dad, and he said, see that first fight we had? That was the hardest fight I ever had. Well, it wasn't my hardest fight, because I know I won it easy. But a nice lad. Carl Crook here with a Lonsdale belt. This is over in Los Angeles, Los Angeles, East Los Angeles. Gym, this is Antonio Esparragosa. He took the world title of the guy who took it of McGuigan, Stevie Cruz, stopped him in 10 rounds. Made 9 defences. Many of them in Japan and made a lot of money. Marcus Filizana, great fighter. Actually fought Paul twice for the world title. This was well after this photo was ever taken. Myself here. I'm the only one who didn't win a world title. Never won any titles. This punch here is very interesting. This is the guy I mentioned earlier, Derry Granger, who went pro with Terry Lawless, boxed for the British welterweight title. This fight only lasted 40 seconds. That's actually the punch that knocked him out. It's just landed. And one of the best punches he ever threw. Up in Ballymena, Jim Montague, Carl Frampton, Eamon McAuley with his belt, myself for Indy's belt, Jerry Hamill, TJ Hamill. I think that might even be young Stephen Donnelly. I could be wrong. Before the learn me and Mickey Tohill. Mickey was a legend, just died there last year. Mickey was very friendly with all the big stars, Liam Neeson, Pete Postlethwaite, Daniel Day-Lewis, big, he was in some of the films, great storyteller, done a bit of sparring with Bob Dylan, taught Bob Dylan how to box, and was friends with Robert De Niro. Wow, I mean, what a story that guy tells. And I've heard some incredible stories about him. He made an impact with all them Robert De Niro and guys like that. He made a big impact. He was very charismatic, and I just wasn't great friends with him or anything. It was just that one lunch I had with him, but could have listened to him all day. It's a comeback I made at the Ulster Hall in the 90s. I'd lost quite a lot of weight. I've been vegetarian 30 odd years now. And initially when I became vegetarian I didn't know about supplementing. I just didn't need it. Didn't eat chicken, didn't eat meat, didn't eat fish, didn't eat eggs, and I should have been supplementing. Now I've got a good dad, I know how to supplement. But in them days I just wasn't eating really, and I was very weak. I won them, but there was no power there was no strength. That's a preview of my first fight on the comeback. I beat a guy called Russell Davison, who was a good fighter, and I beat him well, but had no strength or no power. I made a wee documentary about boxers that come out of my area. It's on YouTube, Ardoyne Bone Boxers, and this was a wee premiere I done up in the library. Eamon McGee, Rinty's brother Tommy, Paddy Maguire, legendary boxer, and Davy Larmer, legendary boxer, both British champions. interesting photo here. Both of us are landing at the same time. I've just landed a jab, which has bloodied his nose, but he's turned my head off with an uppercut. Beat him on points anyway. That was in the NABCs. I think there's a photo coming up of me, the referee raising my hand. That's me after sparring Eamon McAuley's brother Patrick up in the Holy Trinity. Legends John McNally, Paddy Maguire and Davy Larmour down at the Shankill. They made a ceramic sofa and there was a pair of boxing gloves on it, so we put a few pieces in and represented the boxing community at that launch. But the sofa's made up of Shankill and the whole history of the Shankill Road, and there was a great history of boxing on the Shankill Road. These are some of the comeback fights I had. I won them handy enough, but had no strength and no power. It was unimpressive, but I won them. Autographs from Eamon McAuley and Eddie Futch. Wayne tapped the bill in one of the shows he was on at the Macefield. Amy and Danny and Bernard McComiskey. Myself getting ready for one of them shows. I think that was my last fight. Chris Eubank very close, Bill. It's me with Barry McGuigan outside his house. Try and rush on, Con, because I can talk. Eddie Futch, Barry McGuigan outside his house. Faversham, that's in 1981. Barry fixed me up to go with Barry Hearn. And Barry said to me, Eamon, you're going to be world champion. I fair played him. He had heard all about me from London guys, and I hadn't boxed in a few years, and he rang me up. He says, why aren't you boxing? You could be world champion. I've been hearing this about you, I've been hearing that about you, and he fixed me up. He tried his best, fair played him, and I like Barry. I'm a big fan of Barry. And sparred Barry a few times. I'm honoured to say that. There's Karen, who's on the camera today in Europa. Best years of her life. Is that right up with McGrandle when he knocked out John Engel? Glenn McCrory, you met him in Europa, Karen. Me and Spader. Just rush. This guy here, Ben McGarrigle. I did mention him earlier. He put me down, but I got up and stopped him in the same round. It's actually on YouTube. He had ended my unbeaten record in Manchester. I won about 12 fights when I went to Manchester, run up a string inside the distance wins. He was the first guy to beat me. Took an Irishman to come over and beat me, but it was very tight majority decision. Found him a little bit awkward. On the return, a year later, we went over there and boxed him, and in a brutal fight, I stopped him in one round and put him in the hospital. Brutal fight. Go on YouTube and watch it. Brutal fight. He knocked me down and I got up and knocked him down. And this guy here done my corner that night. Paul Dunn, who was Ricky Hatton's first trainer. A couple of write-ups there that were in programmes for Ulster Hall, King's Hall fights. Eamon McAuley is my kind of fighter, while our new British flyweight champion, Dave McAuley, no kin, is apt to back off and admire his handiwork. Young Eamon will boldly yank the tiger's tail in the hope of making it growl. That's how he treated one sparring partner this week, before firing home a wicked left hook to the body that dropped his man to the floor in abject surrender. The boy from the Ardoyne had made his point. And then a wee bit here. Eamon has been sparring with another good young Eastwood prodigy, Paul Hodkinson, but looks too heavy and rough for the Liverpool lad, who some think is a better prospect than McGuigan was at the same formative stage of his career. We entered a competition, Prospect of the Year. Paul shared it along with Nigel Ben. They got $5,000 each. It's me and Europa. We had a show in Ardoyne here. It would have been 1988, I think. Steve McCluskey, my great friend now. Very good Christian man. It says here, where does it say here? McAuley will enjoy the luxury of sparring with a great Julio Cesar Chavez, who recently beat Juan Laporte on a split decision. I was down to spar Chavez, and what an honour that would have been. He didn't come to the gym that day, but Barney Eastwood, I knew I was sparring him. I was so excited about sparring him, and it didn't happen, and I didn't have the confidence to ask Barney Eastwood why it didn't happen. I don't know why it didn't happen. And Carl Crook in Romford, 1981. Throwing that right hand again to his nose. It's the greatest football team ever come out of Ardoyne. The 1976 marauding Holy Cross team, P7 team. I was still in P6, but I played for the P7 team. Eddie Flood and Tom Austin were also P6. This was a great team. Went through the whole season unbeaten. Won all the major cups, the Primary Cup, the Belfast Telegraph Cup. Won everything. Swept the board. Never lost a match. And that's up at Strangford. We had beat Finnegy 4-2 in the final. There's me there, look, holding the cup. Look at all, gave him a dole, look at the suit. And that's was done a lappy honour. Gave him a dole again. Hardbop, Danny Trainer, Tom McWilliams, Victor Hagan, Paul McNally, it's myself here, look. And this is presenting prizes in 1886 up in the Crumlin Star. For the Sports Awards, I was picked to present the prizes to them. Some write-ups of my football career. In the final of the Ulster Savings 7-a-side tournament, Holy Cross beat Beaver 4-2 with goals from Eamon McAuley 2, Jerry Hawkins and Stephen Brown. This here was the Northern Ireland final. Ardoyne under 12s against Red Star of Derry, and we beat them 3-1 at Solitude. Danny Trainer got 2 goals and I got 1 goal. That's why we're pictured together. And I can still remember the goal. Still remember it. And that's yourself, Karen, with myself. I think that was the night my dad box making up in the Fallons. There's wee Shazy, my son. My Uncle Tommy Renty's belt, Carl Fromlin, myself, John McNally, and this was at the White City Boxing Club, White City Midland. John McNally used to box for them. This collection of boxers here: Jerry Hamill, myself, Marty Quinn, Davy Larmer, Dave Boy McCauley, Jim McCourt, Paddy McGuire, Paddy Graham, Barry Flynn's father Tony, and that's myself, Paddy Barnes and David Healy, the famous Northern Ireland goal scorer. That was at one of Carl Frampton's fights.
And like for some reason, they are doing clubs. They always seem to be able to punch, because McGee could punch, you could punch yourself, because as I know, because you used to put me down the odd time. You used to hit me when I wasn't looking.
Well, you said I took diabolical liberties.
Yeah, but no, anybody that I know from the Ardoyne club, they're tough guys, like, and they all come bang a bit, you know. Like, you have the Corbetts, you've got you yourself, you have the McGees, you know, and there's quite a few others.
Freddie Gilroy. He
could
could bang a wee bit.
And like he was a tough customer. But look, see anybody who dons a pair of gloves, regardless of what club they fight for, anybody who dons a pair of gloves, you know, it's tough. but especially from up and around the Ardoyne there. They must wear.
They make them tough up there.
They must put something on their gloves, do they? Because I'm sure you the horseshoe your glove when you hit me. Like.
Eamon McAuley, I remember sparring in the Holy Family when I was an amateur, and we've done over 100 rounds, but on the last round of the last spar we ever had, he connected a thunderous right hand on my nose and didn't help the shape of it very much. But
and also sparred yourself, Eamon, so I did. 50, 60 rounds in Eastwoods, so I did, and some great times.
And everyone competitive.
Everyone competitive, and then also you sparred my brother, see that, so you sparred the pair of us, see that.
Yeah, sparred you many's the time, and well, not many's the time, but sparred you enough to know that you were great talent. You just didn't get the breaks that you deserved.
You actually hit me off the lapel.
Did I hit you off the lapel? Well, you
thank God you weighed 18-ounce gloves on. Didn't us?
You know, but me and Eamon, you know, we feared no one. We went to gyms in Panama, Los Angeles, and we sparred world champions. We were just up and coming professionals. You know, we held our own with every single one of them.
So on to my third scrapbook. This photo was taken in the Holy Family. Here we go. That's my niece Katrina, Marty, McCann, nice lad. Joe Gormley, Cliftonville. I'm a big fan of Cliftonville Football Club. But this is a programme for my pro debut. Well, supposedly my pro debut. Got myself in incredible shape, but it was up to high dole. The pressure was under, the drums were beating long and loud about me. The papers were saying this, Jack McGowan especially, this guy's better than McGuigan, this guy hits harder than McGuigan at the same formative stage of his career. This guy could be a new McGuigan. And I'd been out of the ring for a year, so the pressure was under, and the money had got at Barney Eastwood, and I actually turned down a trip, as God is my witness as a Christian. I turned down the trip to go to Las Vegas when McGuigan lost his title to Steve Cruz. I turned that down, and McGuigan was on the same bill as Tommy Hearns and Roberto Duran. Paul Hodgkinson took my place, but I turned it down because of the pressure I was under. You know, it was bad enough for all that money. So the pressure I was under was immense, and I was putting myself under most of it. So I was on this bill, and the night before the bill, the guy pulled out, a guy called Craig Windsor, and it was awful. It happened to me so many times, guys pulling out. It happened so many times. And he pulled out the night before, and the next day I weighed in anyway. I got paid for it. I paid £1,000, but money didn't mean anything to me then. It still doesn't mean anything to me. But the whole ordeal of it was shocking, and it didn't fade again until about 6 months after. Eventually, it did settle in Barney Eastwoods and did produce some of the best form in my life. My gym form is unbelievable. But initially it was very trepidatious, it was very nervous, it was under a lot of pressure. But I produced some fantastic form, Bobby McAllister said to me, Eamon, you're better than them all. And at the time, I was like, tell me something I don't already know. That might sound cocky and conceited, but sometimes you have to believe in yourself, and I struggled with my confidence for so long, but started believing in myself and really excelled. Outside frames. That's me, my Uncle Renty. I think that's the only photo I have of Renty Monaghan. And this was in the North Belfast News. Guy asked me 10 questions. That's just recent. I suppose that the late John McGranigan, God have mercy on him. John was quite a character. John hit the drink hard, very hard, practically on the street. And sad and ignominious ending for John, God bless him. From Shankill Road. Pro debut, McAuley wins, Charlie Magri beaten. wee bit nervy for my first fight. I went the distance, you know, but I beat him well. I won every round. I hit him a cracking body shot, I remember, in the 4th round. Just try and wish through. Not a good right hand there against Les Ramiki. This was the programme for the finals of the London Senior Finals at the Royal Albert Hall, where I beat Moss O'Brien. Okay. Me and Paul Hodkinson, 30 years later. This is it. Cliftonville Football Ground, the social club. Paul couldn't wait to get a pint. Marcus Villazana, great Mexican champion. Just different write-ups. I'm not going to go through them all. Just want to stay in Barry McGuigan's house in Faversham in Kent. As I say, Barry was a real believer in me. Barry tried to fill me full of confidence. Setback for him, and that's when the guy pulled out that I mentioned earlier. Belfast superfella Eamon McAuley had his first outing for a year and showed top form to halt dangerous Ricky Bushell of Kent in 4 rounds at Battersea Town Hall, South London. Referee Reg Thompson stopped the bout after 2 minutes 20 seconds of the 4th as Bushell rose from his 4th knockdown. Bushell's left eye had started to swell in the 3rd round and was bleeding by the finish. That was the only fight I was ever cut. He hit me with a head. I had to get 4 or 5 stitches. He hit me with a head. I think it was unintentional. The 2 heads clash. And this one here, sorry, I'm talking about the time I sparred Barry McGuigan. The first time Bobby McAllister brought me down to spar McGuigan, and I'm still an amateur. And once again, this is all this thing with Barney Eastwood, getting people to do his work. But I jumped at the chance because I was a massive big fan of Barry McGuigan. To meet him and to spar him was a real privilege and an honour. But Bobby McAllister, my coach, failed to tell me something very, very important. He should have told me to see when that bell goes, Eamon, that indicates it's a buzzer. That indicates there's 10 seconds left. Fight through that buzzer until it stops. Well, Barry sparred hard and I sparred hard, so we're going on at hammers and tongs. And the buzzer went the end of, well, I thought the end around. And I put my hands down, and Barry hit me such a vicious right hand. And I went back in the ropes, bounced the ropes and back into him. He put his hands on my shoulders. And he says, "Are you all right?" And even then I thought to myself, you know, what do you want me to say? Not so bad, Barry, and how are you? But what happened was, I learnt the hard way. Anybody that come in from overseas to spar McGuigan or to spar us, I always explained to them about the bell. That was the first time I ever experienced anything like that. Brian Mitchell, legendary South African world champion, made 13 defences of his title, and because of apartheid in South Africa, he couldn't box in his own country. And my hometown decisions and whatnot, what a great fighter, to go to different countries, their hometown, many of them, and beat them in their own backyard and get the decision. What a great champion. That was in Wales I met him. He was over for the Rugby World Cup. This is Carl Crook's brother, Nigel. I also beat him, and also beat this guy who's dead now, Des Southern, who boxed pro as Des Gargano. It's Paul Day, the guy I mentioned earlier. So I'm beaten in 10 fights. The other wee write-ups, there's Freddie Gilroy with my Uncle Renty, and my mate Davy Larmer. I was on the phone to Davy earlier. You know that book, Ardoyne, The Untold Truth? I was thinking to myself, your ma still has it. It ends up, it was Davy Larmer has it. Davy's a habit of not giving you stuff back. Great John McNally, 1952 Olympic silver medalist. I reckon he was robbed in the final against Pentti Hamalainen from Finland. The finals were in Helsinki, Finland. Finland hadn't got a medal, and this was the final day of the Olympics. You know, John had to knock him out twice to get a draw. Wee story I done about my granddad. This is a programme full of London senior finals. Eamon McAuley versus Moss O'Brien. Number 10 lightweight pro in Britain, Kyle Crook number 4. The day turned pro with Barney Eastwood. Terrible Tim Riversman, former world heavyweight champion, great fighter, lovely man, lovely affable man. Let's see. Dean Bramwell, who I made my debut against, he had 200 odd pro fights. The fellow here when he died, compassionate, hard man, had fists of stone. That was one of the hardest men I ever met at Belfast. Stories about my dad are legendary. I'll only ever be known in Ardoyne in North Belfast as Coco's son, and that doesn't bother me. Now, this is the Rinty statue. Uncle Tommy. From grandfather Harry McAuley, who was a Portrush man. That's him there pictured in his beloved Portrush. It's a mural. That's us. We went to a place with people with dementia and pensioners, and it was a drop-in centre. And we done the boxing show, Barry Flynn. We had the footage of all the great boxers, and Barry done the commentary on it, and I helped them out, and they loved it. Rinty statue on that group. Fella there with the snooker and billiards. What a great player he's there with Martin Megan. Guy I spoke about earlier, Bernardo Pinango, we were in his camp. He defended his title against Frankie Duarte, who's another fantastic world champion. You know, Barney Eastwood really invested in us, really invested in me. I must have been the only bad bet that Barney ever made. It's me with Kieran, Tanya with Paul, my wee nephew. Uncle Rinty with Barry McGuigan in the hospital shortly before his death. And this was a night we done at the Titanic. I've put that on YouTube. We've done a talk about Rinty. And we go around schools, and we go around places with the belts and talking about boxing, and but you know, we went up to Rathgale and places for young offenders and done talks on boxing, and we come from working class areas like and tell them how we've turned our lives around and made a success out of our lives. Shayla, are we Shayla? Me with Ken. 2 sons. This is something I organised here, a plaque for my friend Danny Barrett, who was shot dead outside his front door by the British Army. Dick McFarlane and Eddie Copeland, and Danny's mummy Molly and sister Tina. 9th of July 1981. Susan, sorry. This is us again with a belt up, inspiring the kids in the boxing clubs. Uncle Tommy, Davy Larmer, Mark Winters is there. Me and Peter McGrath doing the Belfast Marathon and doing the Knock Walk. This walk here is over 5 days. It's 130 plus miles. That walk's even harder than doing the marathon. It's a toll it takes on the body, on the legs, on the back. That was my 4th time doing it. It's lovely, very spiritual. The walk's beautiful. I done the marathon 2001. There's Rinty and Barney Eastwood's gym. He seems to be telling Barry something very profound because he's wagging his finger. McAuley with Stanley Matthews, me and Paul Hodgkinson at the airport. Fighter I trained as a pro Kieran Healy. When he was with me, when I was training him, he was 5-0, won his first 5 fights. But he wasn't as dedicated. He wasn't really putting it in. I had aspirations to train champions, and he could have been a champion, but after I left him, he won something like 2 out of his next 9 fights. He'd sort of settled into a journeyman role, but he was better than that. He was better than that. A few write-ups here of my nephew. Was a good wee boxer too. Got to the All-Ireland final in his first. Had about near 30 odd fights. Some of them were novice fights, but he'd only about 3 losses. Wee southpaw, will-o'-the-wisp. Wee boxer, cut it, just went sadly off the rails. This was in an American paper. They made a big deal. They made a bigger deal about the Renty statue than what the local ones did. And this is a big crowd to come over from the States. All Renty's relatives to view the statue launch. It was lovely. Some photos here. There's your sister Martine. Wee Paul, and a bit of football. Sadly, he's went off the rails. So the mural again. There's the All-Ireland final, Louis Paul. He got to the All-Ireland final in his first year. Lost 6-5, either 5-4 or 6-5. Lost by a point. And very, very unlucky. Could have went the other way. Renty with Joe Fraser, smoking Joe Fraser. And myself with Kieran Healy, the guy I trained. Kieran's actually, I'm not as tall as that. I always stand on my tippy toes when there's a photo. No, a taller guy. I have a habit of doing that. Just a wee miss my share of all. There's yourself, Karen. Kieran, Sonny, Shay. The photos of me boxing. This is my great grandfather, Thomas Monaghan, Renty's father. And I reckon he was the 7th son of a 7th son. So as we go around places with people, terminally ill or with cancer or, Alzheimer's, or we bring the belts around and lift them. And what a joy and an honour and a privilege to do that. And this is a plaque I got for Donny Bard, as I said, to great John Caldwell. Delighted to get statues for John and Renty. And it's my grandfather up Chopping Mood in the Cave Hill, Harry McAuley, with his manager Frank McAuley. Just some photos of Renty now. This is the day after Renty won the world title. The wrote in the gable wall, Renty le champ, attaboy Renty. And the night before, see, they're all hungover, the streets are quiet. The night before, the party was in full swing. And when Renty came back to Corporation Street, after winning the title against Patterson, I had to take the bedroom window out, and Renty appeared. Renty sang, and Renty could have sung all night. Renty sang songs out the front, and there was thousands that thronged the streets for a quarter of a mile. But this is the day after, when everybody's in bed hungover or sick. It's my grandfather here when he knocked out John Ingle. Billy O'Neill from Ardoyne. It's the day I turned pro. We're nearly Ardoyne, and this is the statue launch. Sorry, the plaque unveiling of Donny Barrett, who was brutally murdered. There's a guy that started me boxing, not Eamon McAuley. He first started me boxing. In school, he was torturing me that I might be able to do him out in the street, but in the boxing ring, he'll do me. Kids. So I went over to prove a point I only went over to prove a point and give him a vicious beating. But Eamon McAuley was away somewhere, so the coaches said to me, would you come back when Eamon's there so he can run his eyes over you? And that's what happened. And Eamon was impressed, and that's stayed on. There's the car my dad came out of, lucky to be alive, 1977. The first loyalist bomb at a Republican funeral. And it was the funeral of Trevor McKibben, IRA volunteer. But 2 guys died that day. Sean Campbell got his head blew off, and Sean McBride got his back blew out. Both of them sadly died. It's a miracle there wasn't a bigger loss of life. This wee car here is parked here strategically for my dad's claim, to show people the scale, to show them where the car was with a bomb in it, which was obliterated. If the funeral cortege had been passing when that exploded, it would have been a massive, massive loss of life. Renty's headstone there. Terrible Tim. Me and Darren Corbett. Pierre won the Ulster Seniors, went to the Commonwealth Games. Finished boxing when he was very, very young. No longevity in the McAuley family. My uncle Sean, who's been training the kids up in the Leg and Eel for 40 odd years. Sean got a good award, a big award in the City Hall for all the work he's done, not just for the club but for the community. Kids who were in using his facilities might otherwise be out, rioting or joyriding or, joining paramilitaries. That's a wee McKellar, isn't it? And we campaigned for the statue for about 4 or 5 years. We were on a committee and we had to keep the profile, raise the profile and keep doing things to keep Rinty's name in the public eye. Me with some lad from Ballymena. Do you know who that is, Gordon? What's his name? I forget. Neeson? Liam Neeson? Is that what you call him? He said, I was at the City Hall for the photo exhibition we done at Lone Star, the Belfast boxing ring, which was the committee we formed to get the statues. He was our patron. My son Shay with Ryan Burnett, who's going to go on to greater things. He's British champion, but he's a cracker. He's going to go on to greater things. My old manager, mucker Harry Holland. Stories I could tell you about that man. That's just a slip. Against Megan and Hugh Russell here, and myself out on his corner, up in the Felons. It's just a mess about to raise money for certain things. Me and mate Jerry Stafford done a wee story about him, grandfather and Rinty, and Paddy Slavin up Cutting Wood. Story I done about Jerry Stafford. That's the night I won the ABAs. Jared O'Hara is sadly deceased now. Harry Greb, my favourite boxer. Done a story about him for the wee local Horizon magazine. Also done the story of my grandfather and printed his record. But I think his record's incomplete by then. But as you see, many losses there, but the quality was, many of these guys were Empire champions, were British champions, were, the quality there was incredible. The play, Martin Lynch wrote a play about Rinty. This is the programme, toured Northern Ireland in 1989, 1990. I'm the only one that filmed it. It's actually on YouTube. This is at the Ulster Hall. We call this guy, Con. He done the film Good Vibrations. Does it say his name there? Terry Hooley. Great, brilliant film about him. He formed the Undertones and he managed many punk bands, local punk bands, Rudy and Good, what would you call them, the Outcasts, and made a real contribution here in the 70s. Owned a record shop called Good Vibrations. What a great film it is. It's in North Belfast News headlines when my father died. You could read a book about my dad, the stuff he's been shot 3 times, blew up, His car once again. He's Shazy. My dad got a bravery award. He jumped in and saved a woman from drowning at Queen's Bridge, one of the coldest days in years. And a couple of weeks later, he bumped into the girl in the town, and she beat the hell out of him with an umbrella. She was trying to kill herself, and we heard that she eventually did. And then there's where my dad was shot. The man mentions the father was shot. Mr. Patrick McAuley, 26 of Fairfield Street. He was shot in the abdomen and the heel after 3 shots were fired. We know who it was. He's dead now. The fella died in Dublin. Some very proud blood donor. There's 3 stories I done about growing up in Ardoyne. First, yours, my 2 grannies and my mother and father on their wedding. My 2 grandas. It's me and Portrush, 2 friends in the 70s, mid-70s. Just wee stories I done for the local magazine. Story I done about the night I knocked the power out, Carl Crook. This is American, this is a Ludlington in Michigan. They made a bigger deal about it than what they did here, about the statue. Headline news are in Ludlington. Harry Shea smiling on statue around. There they're all. And there's the maquette, or not the maquette, there's the statue before it goes into the oven. We were over inspecting it, make sure that it was up to scratch, and if there's any changes needed made, we would have told them. This was our last chance to let them know what we thought. So we went over to Scotland. The guy was from Edinburgh. It's once again just about Rinty and about the statue and the story there about my grandfather. Winning the Irish Northern Ireland title against Billy Donnelly. My brother Paul sadly took his own life. 2011. Father's 7. Father's 6. Got that wrong. My father here, as I say, great darts player, snooker player, billiards player, could turn his hand to anything. Very talented. And it mentions here Patsy McAuley. The club also provided the North Belfast individual champion Patsy McAuley. And this is a mural Kieran was on in the Divis. And this t-shirt, I have this t-shirt. Luis Spada, Roberto Duran's manager, gave me that t-shirt along with a photo of Duran wearing it. So I still have that